Hello, hello. Blackjack here, and today I will be talking about One Piece. Eiichiro Oda's flagship series is a masterclass in character design, with each character still looking unique and memorable after decades of being published. And while there's literally thousands of characters to talk about in the series, many of which can and probably will fill an episode, today I thought I'd start with one that really capitalizes on Oda's abilities as a writer through his character design. So, let's set sail and talk about the recently wrapped in the anime Whole Cake Island arc. In case you need a refresher, Whole Cake Island is a land of wonder, whimsy, and absolute horror covered in a thick layer of saccharin. Emperor of the Sea, Charlotte Linlin, better known as Big Mom, has used her devil fruit powers of sectioning off souls to fill the land with homies, creatures given life through taking the lifespans of those that live on Whole Cake Island. Combine this with her twisted desire to make the place a utopia for all races, and Whole Cake Island looks like something out of Alice in Wonderland mixed with Candyland. Chocolate houses, rabbit nights, and characters with such outlandish designs, one of them is made of whipped cream. Going in, Whole Cake Island disguises a lot about the location itself. The entire arc exists as a series of very intentional contradictions, all centering around a dream gone horribly wrong. The sugary coating on everything intentionally hides away the fact that the entire place is horrific to live in. Big Mom herself commits accidental genocide on a relatively regular basis, people are forced to give months of their lives at a time or face death, and the Charlotte family is encouraged to kill and maim as they please, as everyone has 50-odd people that they want to kill. Taking a look at the Charlotte family, they stand at the top of this whole scenario. Despite almost all of them being psychopaths, they all look like something completely out of a fever dream. The eldest Sparrow is caked head to toe in a garish outfit covered in sweets, and that's discounting that his power is to literally control candy. Cracker fights using cookies, and his hair has sparklers in them. Smoothie juices people, and Mondor looks like a skeleton for no discernible reason. In short, all of them are like a fever dream crossed with a nightmare. Well, all except one. Charlotte Katakuri, second son and third child of Big Mom. He stands out amongst his siblings by way of his appearance and his introduction. Now, actual death is quite rare in One Piece, and is usually given quite a bit of levity. Even most arc villains end up alive, so it comes as quite a shock when a guest at Big Mom's party, Jigra, is introduced, then brutally killed not even a page later. By a jelly bean. The perpetrator, Katakuri, then goes on to explain that he foresaw Jigra declaring his revenge, explains his reasoning, then foresees his subordinate accepting his reasoning without argument. All of this is compounded with the fact that his name and bounty are listed on the page. In addition to his outlandish design, we see that he has bounty over 1 billion berries, the second character to do so up to that point, and the first to really have a direct fight. And all of that is compounded with its design. Absolutely everything in the chapter serves to properly introduce Katakuri. Aside from the setup, the design straight out of a completely different series is contrasted against a lion man, fish people, the Power Rangers, mobsters, a Birdman, and a Candyman. 2 panels before its introduction, Sparrow joyously leads a bunch of children up an escalator made of candy. So it comes as a shock when a character is unceremoniously killed, and the man who did it is casually relaxing, sitting literally high above everyone else. And then we see his design and how much it can contrast with the rest of the arc and the rest of the Charlotte family. Surrounded by sugar and cake, the 16-foot man clad in all black leather covered in spikes and skulls takes up the entire page, along with his absurd bounty. From the very first second we see Katakuri, we can see that he looks off. He contrasts brilliantly with his surroundings, and his status as Big Mom's top commander points us to the fact that he's going to be the big fight of this arc, as we learn that Big Mom is still out of the Straw Hats' reach. And before I start on his design, I'll take a second to thank the Library of Ohara, a massive One Piece fan site if you're not sure. They've compiled a lot of the background information on the series, and one such note was that Katakuri almost had a radically different design. Every now and then, Oda releases a data book of sorts that explains just some of the minor stuff. A lot of early designs of characters, just some background info. This is even how we learned that Big News Morgans is a devil fruit user, not just a random Birdman. He uses the albatross fruit. And taking a look at the beta Katakuri, we see that he's actually quite a bit similar to his fellow triplet, Daifuku. The sketch shows he had a similar body type, having a large torso and long stick-like legs, as well as similar shoulder pads. Honestly, the design may have even been reused for Daifuku, as they share a very similar shape and even take the same pose. He's also supposed to wield the flower fruit, flower as in the food mix, explaining why he's the Minister of Flour, and not say mochi. Moving on to his design proper, and what is quite likely to be an inspiration for the look, all the leather, spikes, and Katakuri's massive size bring to mind the legendary Fist of the North Star. The 1980s action manga sees Kenshiro fight past thousands of Mad Max-inspired baddies with the ability to literally blow people's minds. And Katakuri definitely looks like he'd fit a lot more with the likes of the biker gangs of the Wastelands than his siblings with Whole Cake Island. And while there's no confirmation, Oda has made more than a few nods to the series in the past, so it wouldn't really surprise me to see that he used the look as at least a basis. Katakuri also sports a large tattoo along his chest and arm, featuring some stripes and a skull face. Tattoos are a bit of rarity in Japan due to associations with the criminal Yakuza gangs, and while One Piece has never really shied away from them for good and bad characters, it still serves as an extra layer to Katakuri's fearsome impact. And it gets a little bit more context later on once we see that it probably represents something other than just a skull. And then we have his scarf. It primarily serves to hide his face and make him look like even more of an enigmatic badass, but it also notably hides something else. Even from his first appearance, it's clear that the scarf hides something, judging from those monstrous scars visible on his face. Of course, this is One Piece, so it's only natural that the scarf hides a big reveal that we see later on. And of course, this is One Piece, so Katakuri also can't remain so serious and cool all the time. Once the assassination plot to kill Big Mom kicks off, Katakuri reveals quite possibly one of the most powerful, fearsome, and versatile devil fruit abilities in the entirety of One Piece. Mochi. The powerful, fearsome, versatile ability of mochi. A form of rice cake. Yeah. One Piece, the series where characters have the ability to stretch like rubber, siphon off souls, and create mochi, and each are treated as monstrously powerful. It's also notable because it's the only one of its kind. The mochi fruit is thus far the only special paramecia, allowing the user to create, control, and turn into mochi. This gives them even more options, using mochi. Still, even with this ridiculous power, Katakuri remains serious, managing to keep calm under pressure and helping to stop the would-be assassins from carrying out their plans. Sure, it's by creating earplugs made of rice cakes, but he's still the infallible man whose back has never once touched the ground. Unless you peek on it at snack time, that is. The reveal of Katakuri's face coincides with the complete reverse of what his sister Brule previously stated. Instead of being the perfect older brother, undefeated and always standing dignified, Katakuri is seen gorging himself on donuts and chocolate, using his mochi powers to humorously enlarge his face so it can stuff even more in. It's a hilarious reveal, honestly, especially considering what an otherwise serious character Katakuri is. Up until this point, even his mochi powers has been taken completely seriously. However, his sinful gluttony reveals his true face, at the same time Oda reveals his true face. Katakuri's entire personality is enforced. His strange scars show that he's not the unstoppable juggernaut of the Big Mom family, but that he's also just as strange as wacky as the rest of them. His entire arc is about literally hiding away his true face, hiding away the imperfections that will let people know that he isn't without fault. He's a glutton that would love nothing more than to stuff his face with sugar, but feels the need to kill anyone that finds this out because it would mean that he wouldn't be seen as a force, just a normal person. And in addition to saying a lot about his character, Katakuri's scars may also be a nod to another Shonen Jump series. One Piece's former contemporaries that ended a few years back is Toriko. The series follows Toriko on his adventures seeking to create the perfect dish by hunting the world's best ingredients. One of the characters in the series is Zebra, a towering man with a facial scar quite similar to Katakuri. His hair also sports a similar color, something you don't really see. It's not even close to Big Mom, and we don't know his father specifically, so. Both are also known for their incredible appetite and amazing strength. The distinct appearance of Zebra isn't something you really see often, especially with such a massive facial scar, so it wouldn't be surprising to hear that Oda was at least influenced by the series partially, as they have crossed over in the past. And aside from the possible reference, Katakuri's scars also define his character. They also bring up a very important question. How did Katakuri, the perfect, invincible monster that has never lost a fight, ever get such horrifying... Oh, right, this is One Piece. Yeah, those massive scars on Katakuri's face, the ones that show his mouth was literally torn open, are from stuffing his face when he was 5 years old. You really can't stay cool without something in the way of it in One Piece, after all. Ignoring the ridiculousness of that, the reason he hides those scars is still pretty interesting. Even as a child, Katakuri was a monster, trouncing anyone that would make fun of his pelican eel-like face. He was strong enough to cause all who crossed him to look at him with fear, but still the world is cruel. No matter how strong you are, there is always cowards seeking to exploit any sort of weakness they can find. The people that made fun of Katakuri's face didn't take their beatings lying down. Knowing that they couldn't hope to defeat him, they instead took their revenge on his sister. Brûlé received a massive scar on her face that's still there after almost 40 years. Blaming himself for Brûlé's disfigurement, Katakuri vowed to hide his face and become the man we see, the one who never lets anyone see his scarred face or his gluttonous side. Cultivating his image, he became the #1 fighter for the Big Mom Pirates as a way to protect his family and never let anyone harm them again. And then comes Luffy. Though few dare attack Big Mom, fewer still get very far. Luffy, however, made it all the way to the final stages of the plan, though it did go up in smoke and mirrors. After the assassination attempt failed, Luffy faced off against the towering Squid Commander in the Mirror World, leading to a fight that lasted several hours, with both fighters facing significant growth through it. Part of this ties in with yet another strength of Katakuri's design. Though they may be a bit silly, his mochi powers are used in quite a similar manner to Luffy. As he demonstrates, he's capable of some incredibly powerful and creative attacks, but he doesn't really start pulling those out at first. No, instead he goes out of his way to stomp Luffy to the ground by mirroring his attacks. Several of Katakuri's attacks are designed to be vastly superior versions of Luffy's. Whereas Luffy can punch so fast it appears as though he has multiple arms, Katakuri actually creates several different limbs to attack. While Luffy can inflate his limbs to add attack power, Katakuri just simply makes his bigger. He can stretch, inflate, bounce back, and do several more things on top of copying Luffy's greatest strengths. In addition to those already superior abilities, he has observation haki so strong it allows him to peer into the future, as well as the extremely rare Conqueror's haki. He even has an awakened devil fruit, allowing him to turn the world itself into mochi. He's intentionally designed to act as the perfect reflection of Luffy, down to their tendency to gorge themselves. It's only fitting their fight takes place in the mirror world created by Brûlé. And because they mirror each other so well, the two only grow closer and closer as the fight drags on. Luffy starts out unable to even land a hit thanks to Katakuri's unique powers, but slowly he starts wearing him down. After discovering the secret of his face, Luffy starts getting the upper hand, landing his first blow and managing to find the weakness behind Katakuri's future sight. Luffy even manages to learn how to peer into the future himself, closing the gap between their abilities. Once Luffy starts seeing into the future and evening the fight, something changes in Katakuri. Whereas he once saw Luffy as another glory seeker and over his head, he learns that Luffy is truly determined to grow stronger, even in the face of an undefeatable opponent. Because of this, he grows to respect him. And the battle continues, with Luffy glimpsing into the future, but suddenly, his focus breaks. Despite landing a devastating blow, Katakuri isn't satisfied. He realized that there must have been something that broke Luffy's concentration, necessary to see in the future. Hearing a girlish giggle from behind a wall, Katakuri finds his sister, Flambe, who interfered with his fight. Just as he was finally recognizing Luffy as an equal, she broke his concentration and then ruined his chance at a battle against an opponent that was as strong as he was. And this is where Katakuri again shows his true colors. Furious at her interference, he subjects himself to her and her followers' laughter, revealing his face and screaming that they shouldn't interfere. He no longer cares about who sees his face or anybody seeing it. he just cares that his fight was ruined, that his equal was cheated. And so, Katakuri removes his scarf, accepting Luffy as an equal and casting off his name for the sake of his own pride. Stopping himself to even the odds, he casts off the jacket that bears his family name, Charlotte, and returns to the fight. He reveals his full tattoo, a wing sprouting from what can now be read as his face, the skull design representing Katakuri's split mouth. And with the removal of Charlotte, he's revealing the man he truly is. This is no longer a fight between the sweet commander of the Big Mom family squashing an invader. This is a battle between Katakuri and Luffy, two men that respect each other's strengths and want to beat the other to grow stronger. And, of course, Luffy eventually comes out on top. Still, Katakuri manages to give one final smirk as Brûlé tells him that the man he respects managed to escape Big Mom's territory. Brûlé also reveals that she knew about his secrets all along. She was alive before he hit his face, so she was already privy to the scars, but her mirror powers allowed her to peek in on her beloved older brother during his snack time. Still, she loved him and knew that he wished to keep that side of him secret. Despite the crazy, murderous, pastel-covered Charlotte family being a gang of killers, it is still a family. It is still people that care about each other. And while some children get along better than others, Katakuri and Brûlé end the arc knowing that they do what they do for each other. And all of that is told through Katakuri's design. It's one of the best examples of Oda's storytelling ability and his way of crafting characters so that everything can have meaning. And that's why I started with him above the other 1,000 or so characters in the world of One Piece. There's definitely more characters to talk about, but for now I'll end my thoughts on Katakuri. Join me next time for another analysis of series character designs and the strengths of it. Blackjack out.